Joining us for a conversation is Dr. Roger Moss, the CEO of Labrador Gold. Dr. Moss, thank you for joining us today, sir.
Thank you, Maurice. It's great to be back to update your listeners with what I think is another nice release.
Absolutely. And it is a great time to be speaking with you as Labrador Gold has just announced its highest grade mineralization coming from the Big Vein, along with updates on the Golden Glove and Midway targets on the 100% owned Kingsway Project. Before we begin, Dr. Moss, please introduce us to Labrador Gold and the opportunity the company presents to shareholders.
Yeah, sure. I think many of your listeners will already be quite familiar with the story, but for those that are new to it, Labrador Gold is a junior gold exploration company focused in Eastern Canada and in what we think are very good jurisdictions. We have a project in Ontario, one in New Brunswick, one in Labrador, and one in Newfoundland, which is the flagship Kingsway property, and that's one that we picked up about 2 years ago, and we've been working consistently there ever since. And I think in terms of the opportunity, what we see here, we actually picked that property up after Newfound Gold had announced their discovery immediately to the south of what's now our Kingsway Project, and we were fortunate to be able to get there early on and pick up that property. As it turns out, that the Kingsway property has a 12-kilometer strike length of the Appleton Fault Zone, which, as many of your listeners may know, is where Newfound Gold has been finding a lot of their gold mineralization along that fault zone. And we have as well. In the last few years, we've drilled 4 targets that we developed from scratch. And all 4 of those targets have intersected significant gold mineralization. So we're 4 for 4, and we still have a lot of that Appleton Fault Zone to explore. So I think that's really the value proposition right there.
Well, batting 100%, you can't go wrong with that one. 4 for 4. Well, let's get to today's press release. Labrador Gold just announced high-grade mineralization from the Big Vein target along the Appleton Fault Zone. Dr. Moss, take us to the southwest end of the Big Vein and tell us what your team has discovered.
Yeah, well, Big Vein, we've been drilling there for quite a while now, and we've reached the southwestern limit of our permit towards the end of last year. So we had applied for another permit, and that came in about a month or two ago. So that enabled us to start drilling to the southwest, because the mineralization that we saw at Big Vein was continuing down in that direction. So this hole is the second hole that we've drilled to the southwest. The first one, which we announced a few weeks ago, intersected 54 grams a ton over just under a meter, and which was significant. But this hole just announced is even better, and this is the one that I said in the news release is the highest grade that we've seen from Kingsway to date, and that was 284 grams a ton over just over half a meter, with another intersection just below that of 15 grams a ton over just over a meter. So and the interesting thing about this particular hole is that it's 120 meters to the southwest of that last hole I mentioned with the 54 gram interval. So that's a big step out. It's not something that we have done at Big Vein to date. We usually more cautious in stepping out in smaller increments, but that step out and to get an intersection like this, I think is really significant, and it just shows that Big Vein and the Appleton Fault in this area is just really prolific, and I'm quite sure that we're going to see a lot more as we step out to the southwest, and also as we infill that 120 meters between this hole and the last one.
Well, Allow me to be the first to say, congratulations. What are the next steps on the Big Vein, and when can we expect more news flow?
Well, I mean, we're continuing to drill. We have 2 drills at Big Vein right now, and one of them will continue to test the southwestern end of Big Vein, both stepping out and drilling deeper under these intersections that we've already outlined. And the second drill currently is on what we call the HTC zone, which is the high-grade, steeply plunging zone that we identified up near the discovery outcrop, and that's probably about 350 meters from these holes that we have right here. So two drills drilling, and we'll put out the news as we get these results in.
Moving further southwest, let's visit the Golden Glove target, where there have also been high-grade gold intercepts released. What can you share with us, sir?
Well, Golden Glove is obviously an interesting target because it's on the east side of the Appleton Fault zone, and that's where Newfound Gold have had a lot of their success, and some of their stellar intercepts, or most of their stellar intercepts, have come from the east side of the Appleton Fault. So certainly some people believe that side of the fault has better potential for these longer intervals of high-grade mineralization. We've had success at Big Vein, but certainly not those long intercepts that we see from Newfound Gold. So the idea is that perhaps at Golden Glove we can tap into some of those longer intercepts of high-grade gold mineralization. The hole that we just announced is 20 grams over a meter. So we have the grade, but we're still looking for those longer intercepts. We did get a little bit longer intercept in a previous hole that we announced from Golden Glove, and that was 6.2 grams over 4 meters. That included just over 10 grams over 2 meters. So there's something happening there. It's really early days at Golden Glove right now. So it'll take us a bit of time to get a handle on the structure down there and how it all fits together. One thing I will add, and again, this is kind of interesting and shows the potential here at Golden Glove, is that these 2 holes intersected this gold about 100 meters to the southwest of the Golden Glove discovery outcrop. So again, we have about 100 meters between these holes and the discovery outcrop to target more gold mineralization.
Now, the Golden Glove is in close proximity to Newfound Gold's Big Dave. To better appreciate today's news, highlight some of the similarities that you see between the 2 targets for us.
Well, I mean, I don't know anything about Big Dave yet. As far as I'm aware, Newfound has not put out any results from Big Dave, so don't know what that looks like. But more generally, certainly the mineralization that we see along the Appleton Fault in Golden Glove, at Big Vein, and also at our pristine target and the Doyle zone, that mineralization style is very similar to what we see at Newfound Gold, or at least in what they show in their public disclosure. So we're seeing gold hosted in quartz veins. Often those quartz veins are buggy. They have pits in them. They include often stylolites, which are pressure solutions where some of the rock has been dissolved away, and of course there's often visible gold, like pinpricks of visible gold throughout these veins, and we see that certainly in the hole from Big Vein that we just announced. There was a lot of gold grains scattered throughout those intercepts. And the other thing is that the country rock is very similar. It's black shales, gray shales, siltstones, and gray wackies, so coarser sediment. So overall, the package that we see along the Appleton Fault is very similar to what we know of at Newfoundland's Queensway Project.
Finally, let's move north to the Midway target where assay results indicated more gold. What can you share with us?
Well, Midway is a different beast. It's away from the Appleton Fault Zone. It's further west. Probably it's about 2 kilometers northwest of Big Vein. And the reason I say it's a different beast is that it's not hosted in quartz veins in sedimentary rocks. It's hosted in gabbro, which is a mafic intrusive rock. So we believe that these gabbros have come up structures, intruded along these structures, and again, those same structures may have been used by gold mineralization, mineralizing fluids coming up and depositing this gold. So what we see at Midway is disseminated gold in the gabbro. So what that means is that instead of being concentrated in quartz veins, it's actually more throughout the gabbro. It's not concentrated in any small part of the gabbro, but it tends to be spread out over larger intervals. And certainly the one that we just announced, 13 meters of 2.2 grams, it would attest to that. And that's kind of a pretty nice grade if you're looking at a sort of more bulk tonnage target, which I think if Midway turns into anything, that's what it would be. It would be a lower grade but potentially bulk tonnage target, and that mineralization is very close to surface. It's within 40 meters of surface, so easily accessible.
Now, before we leave the project site, Dr. Moss, how far along is Labrador Gold into their 100,000 meter drill program?
We are about 45,000 meters into the program, so just under halfway.
Switching gears, let's look at some numbers. Dr. Moss, please provide the capital structure for Labrador Gold.
Yeah, it's changed a little bit just recently because we had some warrants exercised. So right now we have about 169 million shares out. The warrants have gone down to just under 20 million remaining, and we have about 7 million options outstanding there. So all in all, about 195 million fully diluted. And of course, those warrants brought in a little bit more cash, and so we have about 26.5 million in cash right now.
And Canadian. And just for the record, you and I speak offline frequently, but just for our audience members, I have been actively purchasing at these prices.
Smart move.
All right. Before we close, Dr. Moss, what would you like to say to shareholders?
Yeah, I think, times are tough right now. Markets certainly aren't cooperating, and we're not seeing any love for even what I consider good news like this. But, we're not going to change our strategy because of what the market's doing. We've been very successful. As I say, we've generated 4 targets from scratch. We've drilled all 4 of them, and we've come up with gold on all 4 of them. So that's something that will continue. It's a testament to both our team on the ground of hardworking geologists and prospectors, but I think it also shows the real potential and the prospectivity of this Appleton Fault Zone, of which we have 12 kilometers to explore. So there are a lot more targets going to be generated and drilled along that Appleton Fault Zone. And so, don't give up hope. Just stay tuned.
Last question. What did I forget to ask?
I don't think there's much to ask. I think we covered pretty much everything. As I just said, the strategy here is to carry on despite what the markets are doing, and we're very fortunate to be in a position to do that with our significant treasury. So there shouldn't be too many changes going forward unless something really gets out of whack.
Dr. Moss, for someone that wants to learn more about Labrador Gold, please share the contact details.
Yeah, so Labrador Gold, we have a website, obviously. It's labradorgold.com. My email address is rmoss@labradorgold.com. And we have Twitter account, which is pretty active and gets a lot of views. So I would suggest people look at that. That's at Lab Goldcorp. And then finally, I always have to mention our YouTube channel, which also gets a lot of views. We post a lot of videos, a lot of interviews like this, also some behind-the-scenes videos, so that people can see what we're doing out in the field. So there's a lot of content there that your listeners can look at.
Dr. Moss, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Wishing you and Labrador Gold the absolute best, sir.
Thank you very much, Maurice. That was always good to talk.
Mutual, sir.
The information presented on Proven and Probable is provided for educational and informational purposes only, without any express or implied warranty of any kind, including warranties of accuracy, completeness, or fitness for any particular purpose. The information is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, or trading advice, or any other advice. You should not make any financial, investment, or trading decision based on any of the information presented without first undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional broker or competent financial advisor.